I initially joined Toastmasters to get over stage fright. That was the main mission. As I joined and I continued on my journey, I realized that one of the best ways to get over stage fright is to go onto the stage more often. But then I realized, oh, you have to be the leader, because when you're the leader, more opportunities for you to speak and more opportunities for you to get over your fear.
Hello, dear listeners. CoachBusi here on another exciting episode of Toast Talks with CoachBusi. Today, I have one of those Toastmasters who, when I started my journey, I used to look at and go, oh my goodness, will I ever get there? She is one of those who are so knowledgeable that you just, whenever she's in the room, you're listening in keenly and you're trying to take notes so you know how to do it right. Need I say, one of my heroes is coming up. Help me welcome DTM Maud. Hi!
Oh, what such a generous introduction, CoachBusi. I think you gave me too much credit, but I'll take it. Thank you so much. Lovely to be here as part of 100 Voices, and I'm certainly looking forward to this conversation. How have you been since we've last spoken?
I have been doing really well. I'm having the time of my life, having these conversations with amazing Toastmasters. I recently spoke to the current world champion, and it was a blast. Louisa was just amazing. But today I'm here to speak to you and let the listeners get clued in a little bit on Toastmasters from your angle. One of my favorite starting points is always, how did you become a Toastmaster and how long have you been a Toastmaster for?
My story takes us back to the year probably 2017. I have always been in client-facing roles. I do work in public relations and communications. And in a role like that, you're constantly with people, whether it's verbally or written, but especially the verbal one. And I have found that a lot of my colleagues are good with the written communications, but we're not very good with articulating ourselves in the spoken word. And whilst I was okay with that, having done public speaking when I was in school and debating and being exposed to that environment, there was something that was holding me back, and that was stage fright. Whenever it was time to speak, especially to the media, a lot of times it's unprepared, sometimes prepared, but mostly unprepared. I'd find myself getting choked up, my mouth would get dry, my heart would start beating, and it just wasn't working. A public relations person who cannot speak is probably a danger to the brands that they're representing. And I knew that something needed to be fixed. I then just did a bit of a search, but someone also recommended to me that Toastmasters could help. I had no idea what Toastmasters was about. And then this took me to 2018 when the search intensified because the stage fright wasn't going away. And I did a bit of a search and I realized, oh, there's a Toastmasters branch that's very close to where I live right here in Johannesburg in South Africa. And I went to go and visit them. It was March 2018. It happened to be the day of the club contest. Now, if you've participated in a club contest, you know the best of the best are competing against each other. And I thought, I can never be like any one of these. But then I also realized that this is probably a place where I could stay and grow, because if one could get to that level, having listened to the contest chair and explaining that people have evolved in their journey, this could probably be a place that could get me to where I want to be. Not sure about the competing part, but in terms of the speaking and the articulation. And that was March 2018. And then I decided to join in April of the very same year. And as they say, the rest is history. I've still been part of the organization and I've experienced immense growth in about 6 years that I've been here.
Wow. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I did tell you that the lady knows her stuff. Did you hear her start and finish? in a way that we're all captivated and we are listening. I love listening to the way you speak and how articulate you are. It now makes sense that you're also serving in PR for your career, but I just enjoy listening to you speaking. Now, there's one thing you did not do, which I expected you to do, which was to rave about the club which you are a member of. I love that club. I love the history and what it stands for. Do you want to go ahead and enlighten the listeners, the club that you're a part of?
Now that you've given me the platform, I will gladly do so. My journey started at Randburg Toastmasters. It's based in Johannesburg in South Africa. It's been a club that's been around for 51 years this year, and it's been where my journey started. I'm still a very faithful member of the club because I always just feel home is where the heart is. I really experience so much growth. And so when I see people come into the club, I know that they're probably going to experience what I did back in 2018 and still am. And that's what keeps me excited and still being part of Randburg Toastmasters.
I love that. You ran right through the 51 years. I mean, can we just take a pause right there? 51 years. That club has to be solid. It has to be one of those clubs that they know what they're doing. And when I visited your club, when we had an online meeting, there were so many good things that I picked up and I took to my home club to go and share. Because when you talk of warmth, it was all there. When you talked of excellence, it was absolutely stellar. And I was like, oh my goodness, 51 years does count for a lot. Tell me, what is the one key selling point that you have for your club?
Firstly, I want to give kudos to all the leaders who've come before and after me, who've shaped the club. Because being a Toastmasters club for 50 years truly speaks to the stability and the testament and the excellence, but also to all the members who've come and gone in half a century. So I just want to give kudos to the leaders. But in terms of what has been the staying power, is I believe our club is very rooted in its culture. And so it's very important as clubs that you understand your club's culture. And if you don't have one, you could be the leader to set your club on a completely different culture if the one that you have is not working. And for us, it was very important that we create a culture of inclusivity. When guests come to our club, it's very important that everyone leaves having said at least something. That's very important. But also where people feel like they belong, they're part of something bigger. A few years ago, I heard distinguished Toastmaster Andrew Turo delivering a presentation that I was part of, and he gave an analogy of what if we thought of ourselves, our members, as shareholders and instead of members. And when he said that, I don't think he realizes the impact that it had on me. And there's very few things that stick with me. That was one of the things that stuck with me. And I happened to be the VPE that particular year. And I took it back to the leadership and I said, guys, this is what I've just heard from Andrew Turo. What do you think about this? And I think people didn't quite get what I was saying. The following year, I happened to be the president. And I said, guys, what if we thought of ourselves instead of just members who are paying a fee and coming and participating, that we thought of ourselves as shareholders, where we invest our time to come to these sessions, to the events, to the meetings and deliver the speeches, our energy, because it takes a lot of energy out of you to do that, and most importantly, our money. And where a group of people come together and invest, they are called shareholders. So what if we thought of ourselves as shareholders? And ever since that day, I kid you not, it was the 1st of July 2019 when I became the president of Randburg Toastmasters for the first time. We have been called shareholders. So having that inclusivity and bringing in that culture of every guest must speak and we see ourselves as shareholders, I believe it just took the club to a totally new level. And I'm so grateful that every other leader or president who came after me since 2019 has also upheld that vision. And since then, we think of ourselves as shareholders at Randburg Toastmasters instead of just members.
That is something that I picked up when I got there. And I thought, oh my goodness, this here is a game changer. I kid you not. to use your phrase, I went straight back to Global Women Extraordinaire, spoke to the exco and said, you know what, we may not take it to the whole club right now, but right here, our exco membership, we are looking at ourselves as shareholders. And as we do that, we have seen every exco member come in and take the role and their responsibility so diligently. It is a game changer when you look at that. So thank you. That made such a difference. And I am sure that we're going to roll it out to the club as well. Now I know the genesis of where that came from. It was DTM Andrew.
Andrew, absolutely. I have to give credit where it's due. So, Andrew, thank you so much. And I think he even knows because many people have contacted him from the club and they've said, I'm a shareholder at Randburg Toastmasters. So it's no surprise. I think it can be quite disruptive if you come to our club for the first time and we're constantly having to explain it. But I'm very happy that the members who are now shareholders have embraced it, not so much the concept, but what it truly means for each of us. And so, for example, when we say to the shareholders, chase your investment, it makes sense because we're investing our time, energy, and money. We're shareholders. We're not just members of some club or book club or a reading club or whatever you call it. We are shareholders in something bigger than ourselves, and we all have a share, and it is our joint investment that makes Randburg Toastmasters work.
Wow. Love it, love it, love it. Now, I have a question following up on this shareholding. As a shareholder yourself, what kind of dividend have you received from being a shareholder of Randburg Toastmasters Club?
Oh, I could speak about this for hours, but let me just summarize it in saying I initially joined Toastmasters to get over stage fright. That was the main mission. But as I joined and I continued on my journey, I realized that one of the best ways to get over stage fright is to go onto the stage more often because stage fright means you are frightened of the stage. So every time you go onto the stage is an opportunity for you to get over the fright. And I was blessed that when I was the president in 2019, it was just pre-pandemic. And every single time we had our club events, guess who was on the stage? As doing the president's address for at least 12 months. And then the pandemic came, we moved on to the online environment. And I helped transition the club because it was March 2020, still on the stage. And then I got on to take on other roles within Toastmasters, put me on the stage. And whilst I still get stage fright, I find that I manage it a little bit better. And that has really been like a game changer for me, especially in my professional life. So it was the stage fright. But then I realized, oh, you have to be the leader because when you're the leader, more opportunities for you to speak and more opportunities for you to get over your fear. And I leaned into leadership at different levels, at club, at area level, and at district level. And every single tier, the higher you went or the higher I went, I found it got better, it got easier, it got easier, it got easier. And then I started also bringing elements of my professional life into Toastmasters, and the two made for a very good marriage. And it just took me to a whole new level mostly from a leadership point of view, because that's probably more of my track in Toastmasters, but also from a speaker. And it's really helped alleviate some of those early pressures that you get with something like stage fright.
Awesome. Now that is a dividend that if I was not a Toastmaster, I would very quickly be saying, where do I sign? Where do I actually come in? Because those are key. You have spoken about the professional side and how it has helped you. In your social circles, how does Toastmasters benefit you? What dividend do you get from that area?
One of the benefits I've also gained from Toastmasters is the networking. You realize they say your network is your net worth, and it really is the truth. And you come into something like Toastmasters, and whilst we're all here to develop our communication and leadership skills, you then realize that people like you and I, we're ordinary people. We have our professions and whatever it is we do in our spare time. And there's somewhat of a link between all of us. We're somewhat all related or connected, even though we don't realize. And That has been very useful for me, especially from an interpersonal communication point of view, because our colleagues, our friends, our circles, and even our family members, they don't know about Toastmasters. And so a lot of the things that you would do would be quite disruptive to them. So, for example, when you tell them I'm very strict with time, those who know me will know I'm quite a stickler for time, for example. And your friends, your colleagues, they're not. If anything, we in this continent believe in African time, where you
Mm,
tell someone you 5 minutes away when you even haven't even taken a shower, for example. So that was already quite a disruptive concept, but also it was a good way to weave in elements of Toastmasters into those relationships without necessarily hard selling. And
mm-hmm.
whenever, but I must say, whenever I get an opportunity, whether it's friends, colleagues, I don't think there's anyone in my circle who doesn't know I'm a Toastmaster. I'm always
Come
talking
on.
about it, whether it's in my circle, on social media. I make sure I tell people because I don't believe Toastmasters is a secret society.
There
We
you
need
go.
to let the world know about it. And it starts in your circles, in those personal spaces, friends, family, colleagues, and it builds from there. And if imagine if each of us did that in our circles, we
Mhm.
would grow into something really big. So there, I've really benefited. Toastmasters has really benefited me quite a lot in my personal relationships.
Again, could not agree with you more. Now, when you talk of time, I would hazard a guess that even though there is Africa time that a lot of people use, around you, would I be correct in thinking people have shifted because they know that with you, Africa time doesn't work?
It's possible, it's possible, but I think people treat you the way you allow them to treat you. And this is not relating to Toastmasters, but it's just a general fact.
Mhm.
And I think if they get to know and understand that you're a stickler for time, they will align themselves to that. But also, you need to be true to yourself and honor that. So you cannot say, I'm a stickler for time, but you're always late, or there's one thing I need to work on, that's responding to messages on time, but I'll get there. But just the basic, just on the basics. So if you say, if you know you're running late, let people know you're running late so that you respect their time, for example. If
Mhm.
it's those little things that our friends and our colleagues take for granted, but we learn it in Toastmasters. And at club level, I always say to guests and I always say to members, we start on time, we end on time, and we waste no time. And it's not a concept that just ends at Toastmasters. It applies in our personal and professional lives. And so if we say we're starting at 6 p.m. or 10 a.m. your time, 11 a.m. your time, that's the time that we're starting. We're not arriving at that time.
Come on.
And again, when you inculcate it, because all change is hard at first, it's messy in the
Mhm.
middle and it's beautiful at the end, people will start understanding that, oh, when I deal with her, I have to be on time. If I'm going to be late, I have to let her know it's okay. We all run late, but let me know, communicate. So that has just been something that I've really tried to uphold as much as possible. And it served me. And I think it's also just a way of us learning that it's a life management skill. If you can't manage your time, you likely can't manage your life. And it's a
Mhm.
skill we're learning Toastmasters that I'm able to take back in my personal life. And even professionally too. I always tell my colleagues, we are starting at 10 a.m. We're not arriving at 10 a.m. They find me quite destructive or a bit crazy, but their message has hit, maybe in a different way.
This is so good because it's the small things which are the big things. And when you say you teach people how to treat you, that is so true. I know people who are late in, like it's their culture. But when we have a meeting, when I schedule a meeting between them and I, they will show up on time because it's just the way it is. People know that you want to be on time and they make the effort to be on time. Now, imagine if we had more people joining Toastmasters, learning these kind of skills. There would be nothing called Africa time anymore. You know, when we say we'll meet in the afternoon, we would not use such broad time measurements. Afternoon can be from midday until 5. And yet we still have people scheduling to meet sometime in the afternoon. No, you and I had an 11 a.m. my time, and that's the time we're meeting. We don't leave it broad. Thank you so much. Now, you have a saying that you used. I heard you say it at your club. You just said it again about time. We start on time, we end on time, we waste no time. Correct?
Yes.
That,
Correct. And I say it wherever I go, especially professionally, and I get the professionals rolling their eyes and they think, what is happening? What is she talking about? And you know, the timing cards that we use in Toastmasters,
yeah,
I've invested in those. And wherever I go to professional events and I'm on the stage, I tell people that we are going to use these cards. And I'll explain to them this is like a traffic light. The green is we go, the amber means where you need to wrap up, and the red, even though in some countries means go, 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 this means stop today, and you will stop. And I make sure that I walk onto the stage and I tell people your speech will end abruptly and we will applaud you off. And people don't want that, so they adhere to the time. Some people misbehave, but we allow. But I think it brings that element of respect. And I've had this
yeah,
happen to me. I actually spoke about it on my social media a few weeks ago. You'll have people come to you and say, thank you. We never thought we'd find someone like this because it's a new concept.
that's it.
African time has existed for the longest, and we've accepted it as a norm or as the way we should behave, but it isn't right in so many ways. And it's been disruptive, but we should disrupt the status quo thanks to Toastmasters. We take those skills back to the personal and professional life, and people, there will be people who will find it disruptive, but there's also people who will respect you. And kudos to those people, because then they learn that when I come to this place, things run on time. When I interact with this particular person, things run on time. And you never want to be that person who's known that, oh, that she's never on time.
There
She's
you
going to
go.
arrive an hour late, or her wedding says 2 o'clock, but the wedding will only start at 4. No, it should run on time. When someone says, see you soon, I'm 15 minutes away. When you know that you haven't even gotten into the shower and you're probably going to be 2 hours, you're 2 hours away. All of those little things are just all centered around respect. And if we get them right as people and we respect it, it's very easy for other people to start realizing that when I deal with Coach Busi, I need to be on time because it's not going to work. And
There,
I've experienced great disruption myself for something I learned in Toastmasters, and now I take it back. People think I'm crazy, but I'm not.
love it. I chuckled and you threw me back a couple of years when you talked about weddings. My wedding was starting at 10 a.m. Central African time, way back when. And there's so many people who missed the church wedding, the church portion, because I have a photo of me walking down the aisle and the clock behind me says 10:20, because the 20 minutes before we started dead on time, and the 20 minutes was the flower girls and all the other things that were happening. 10:20, it was the bride now walking down the aisle. And people came to me and said, who does that? Which bride shows up on time? I said, one that's excited and one who respects time, not just mine, but yours as well.
Mm. So I think we will have to write it. I think as Toastmasters, we'll have to write it. So when I get married, I'll have to say, or either write it under the invitation, I will walk down at the time that is stipulated. So if you do want to see me, you might as well, you make a plan to come there on time because you will miss
Right.
it. If you come and the wedding is finished. I've
There
seen
you
that
go.
happen at weddings, by the way. No, that's not going to happen. It shouldn't happen even at a Toastmasters wedding. I pray if you're also having a wedding and you're watching this, please be on time. Let's disrupt the world a little bit, even if it's just with the concept of timekeeping.
That's it. Love it. Now, on that note, what would you like to say to someone who is sitting on the fence about whether they should become a Toastmaster or not?
I would say to them, give it a try. I'm going to start at that will be my starting point. Give it a try. I was you a few years ago. I had no idea what Toastmasters was about. I went there and I saw people who were just like me, trying to get over different fears and insecurities that were holding them back. I've stayed because I've gotten so much value. But for you who's thinking, I'm not going to get value, give it a try. Visit a branch that's closest to you and experience it. Toastmasters is an experiential learning program. It's learn by doing. I
Mm.
can tell you and convince you, Coach Busi can. You can watch others on YouTube and other platforms, but you have to be there. So go give it a try, experience it for yourself. online, in person, and potentially even both to see which experience works for you. And if you didn't like the branch that you visited, go and visit another one and another one and another one. It's no obligation. It's free for you to do so, but you won't truly know unless you give it a try. So let that at least be your starting point from now and moving into the year, into the new year, and see how that goes. And I promise you, it's such a life transformative and life-changing experience. Your journey, personal and professional, will never be the same again. And I am a brand ambassador for Toastmasters, and I kid you not, it is what it is, and that is the truth. So give us a try, give Toastmasters a try, branch of your choice, and see. If you don't like that one, go and have a look at another one. No obligations.
Love that. Now, you see, who would not take such an invitation? You're not asking them to pay up front, but I suspect that once they see that this here is not just us going on about something that to draw them in, but that they actually see that there is so much that they can benefit. And it doesn't matter who they are, what they do. You can be any career person and you will need Toastmasters. But come and give it a try.
Right. And that is why at Randburg Toastmasters, we've made it quite critical as a club that every guest must speak at our club. And that's the reasoning behind it, is there could be people who are also coming there to try, and they've taken advice like what I've said. And if they see others, they may look and say, she's a bit above where I am, or she's not where I am, she's not at my level. But when they go in and realize, and a lot of our guests have said, I didn't expect to speak, I was just coming to observe. That on its own is disruptive. And they say, maybe I should go back there because I'm going to get a chance to speak. But maybe perhaps if they came to your club and they didn't get a chance to speak, they remain in their comfort zone and they think, maybe not, or I'm busy next week, I can't make it. But if they know that when I go to that club, I speak and I'm not even a shareholder or a member, I might want to go back there again. And that's why we always find, or we sometimes find, that we have a lot of repeat guests. It's because we give guests, everyone, there's no one who leaves there without having said a word. If you do, maybe it's because we were a very large group and we were out of time, but that seldom happens at least at Randburg Toastmasters.
And on the online meetings that I've been on with you, I can testify that to be true. Thank you so much for availing yourself. You spoke of networking. I love the alacrity that Toastmasters come on with, zeal and gusto, and just anytime that I'm asking, I have not had any Toastmaster turn me down. I know you guys to be busy when you've got the blue backgrounds, you're serving. Your current president right now?
Not a president, but I'm the vice president of education.
You vice president education. That's a lot of work that needs to be done. But here we are, having time to speak because our networks are strong. We believe in the brand and we are people who like each other. It is so good. I say I do business with people I know, like, and trust. And that is still the story that I will continue to sell. So thank you so much, DTM. This has been so enlightening. And I know people will take notes because you have given a lot of nuggets. A lot of nuggets. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. And I think maybe in closing, as this is all about 100 voices, or you're interviewing 100 people, I think this is a very special year of Toastmasters, its existence. We've been around for a century. I don't even want to think about how many lives have been changed in the year, in this 100 years. And that could potentially be you. If you're watching this and you're not a Toastmaster, you could be that next person. So as I mentioned, give it a try, connect with any branch that's closest to you. I'm sure CoachBusi will drop the links on how you can find a club or find a branch that's closest to you. And indeed, as I said, your journey will never be the same again. We're all about transforming leaders and making competent communicators and leaders. And it can definitely, Toastmasters has benefited me, it's benefited CoachBusi, and it can definitely do the same for you. So I'm super excited about the next 100 years of our organization, the questions and also to be part of all the developments that are taking place. And it's podcasts and sessions like these or videos like this that just get those conversations started. So thank you so much for an awesome initiative. And I look forward to seeing other voices as part of the 100 voices that you're going to have in the special year of Toastmasters existence. Thank you so much, Coach Busi, for this opportunity. I'm so grateful that our members were able to connect and to align, and we were able to make this possible.
Yay! I did tell you, one of my heroes. She did not disappoint. You should trust me, listeners. You should trust me when I tell you I am bringing the creme de la creme, and Toastmasters is just making us shine like diamonds. Come on over to the enlightened side and join a Toastmasters group or visit a Toastmasters group near you or online. Thank you for listening once again, and until the next time when someone else who is awesome sits on the other side. Here's Coach Busi and Ditya Maud bidding you farewell. Ta-da!